if you're a Vue.js developer, then chances are you have downloaded and installed packages or components created by other people. But what about you? Are you able to actually create your own Vue component and maybe publish them online so that you can install them in your other projects and maybe other people can download them too? Or maybe other people can even contribute to those components so that everyone benefits? Well, in this series, that's what we're going to learn. We're going to learn how you can actually do that. And of course, like here, I'm assuming that you already know what an NPM is. So, and if you don't, NPM is a package manager that allows you to basically install packages, dependencies for your JavaScript applications. So instead of building everything from scratch every time you want to build something, you can download and install things that were already built by other people. So that's what NPM. I really recommend that you search online, try to use it, play with it, etc. if you have not so. But I assume that you already know, since you're a Vue.js developer, I'm sure you've came across NPM multiple times. Now, in this video or in this series, basically, we're going to build a sample component that we're going to publish online. And this sample component will basically be a star rating component. It's a simple component. A component that displays from 1 to 5 stars, and when the user clicks on, for example, star number 3, then the component returns the value 3 in a V model, for example. So it's a very simple standard component. But this component is a great example because it can be used on multiple projects. So it is a great candidate to be turned into an isolated, independent component that you can install on multiple projects or other people can install, right? So here, of course, you can use the standard Vue CLI or you can use Vite, both are possible. But in this series, we're going to use Vite. Vite is, newer, faster, it's easier to work with, I guess. So I'm going to use Vite. Also, we're going to use Tailwind CSS for styling, but of course you can use standard CSS or SCSS or even scoped styles. It is up to you. It depends on your preferences, because the actual building process of the component itself is not something new to you. You're already doing it in your project, but maybe what's new is actually how to package it as its own independent package and publish it online. Okay, so in the vite.js website, we're gonna click on Get Started. And let's first of all install 2 projects. The first one represents the actual component itself, and the second one represents a small demo application to test our component. Okay, so I'm gonna come here and copy this npm create vite latest. And I will go to my desktop and I'm gonna create a new project. Let's call this project my packages, for example, packages. And in here, I'm gonna open a cmd command line prompt. This, of course, it doesn't matter if you're using Mac or Windows or Linux, the process is basically the same. So I'm gonna copy, paste what I copied, npm create vite latest. It's gonna ask me about my project. So the name that I'm gonna choose is the name of my package. So I'm gonna call it cool stars, maybe. It's going to be a Vue.js project. I'm gonna use JavaScript. Okay, so the project cool stars have been created. So I'm gonna open that folder up with Visual Studio Code. And the first thing is I'm gonna have to install the dependencies of this project. So I'm gonna open up a terminal and type npm install to install all the dependencies into the nodes modules folder. Great, now everything is installed. Now the next step is to actually clean up this project. But before we clean it up, let's make sure that it actually works. So I'm gonna type npm run dev. And this will open up a development server on port 5173. And as you can see, the application works. Now let's clean this application. So I'm gonna delete, first of all, let's stop the application. And I'm gonna delete this logo and this components folder. And yeah, what else can we delete? So the app.vue I'm going to remove everything in here except for a simple hello world. Let's remove this script setup area and let's remove all of these styles. Let's remove everything. Okay, so, and for the style.css, I'm going to remove this one as well. And we are good to go. Let's start the application again to make sure that we only get a simple hello world. Okay, now the application is clean. The next step is to actually install Tailwind CSS. So let's do that. Okay, so installing Tailwind CSS is pretty straightforward. All we need to do is just to simply go to Tailwind CSS. And then I'm going to click on Get Started. And I'm sure here there's, a place where it shows how we can install this on Vite. So I'm going to use the search bar. I'm going to type in Vite. Yeah, so install Tailwind CSS with Vite. So I'm going to click on that. And yeah, here it shows us the instructions how to install this for Vue. So I'm going to click on using Vue. And these are the steps that we need to follow in order to install it. So let's start. So this step, we've already did it. We've installed Vite with Vue. We entered our project with Visual Studio Code. Now we're going to install Tailwind CSS, Post CSS, and Auto Prefixer. So let's do that. So back to our project. I'm going to open up another terminal and install these three NPM tools. Okay, perfect. Now it is installed. The next step is to execute npx tailwind css init. So this will create a new Tailwind configuration file. So I'm going to paste this one here. Perfect. So that created a Tailwind CSS config.cjs file and post CSS as well. So we can see them here. This is it. And the post CSS, this is it. Okay, the next step is to actually tell, the Tailwind where to find the source files for our package. So we can simply copy this. So I'm gonna, of course, paste them in the Tailwind configuration file inside of this content array. And the next step is to add the Tailwind classes into our style.css file. So I'm going to come here to style.css, paste those in there. And you might ask yourself, how is this styles being included? So this style is being included because in the main.js file, you can see we are importing it, right? So we're importing the style.css, which in itself contains these Tailwind CSS classes. And that what makes sure that the Tailwind is being included in the final bundle. Okay, then we can run our application and test to make sure that Tailwind CSS is working. So let's get back here. I'm going to stop the server, run it again. I think that's unnecessary, but I like to do it just to be sure. And then I'm going to try to style this hello world by giving it class text red 500. So if Tailwind CSS is installed properly, then we should see this text in red. So I'm going to save and let's get back here. And as you can see, it is red. Perfect. This is great. I also like to install the Tailwind CSS extension for Visual Studio Code so that it can help me pretty much, with the auto completion and the cool stuff. So I'm going to install this. Great. Now, when I try to add other classes, for example, background, green, 500, you can see that it shows me auto completion. Perfect. Now the background is green and the text is red. Awesome. Now the next step we're going to do is basically we're going to create a demo application. A demo application to pretty much test our component. So I'm going to create it right now. Basically, open up a new terminal and follow the exact same steps to installing Vite again. So I'm going to copy this and paste it. And we're going to call this demo. It's going to be Vue application, JavaScript. Perfect. Now I'm going to cd into the demo folder and npm install. Great, and again, we're going to simply clean up the demo application as well. So inside of it, I'm going to delete the components folder, the assets folder, all the styles, and basically this one as well, and this part as well. This is my demo app. Now let's run the demo application as well to make sure that it is working. And well, it says PostCSS cannot read config of undefined. Let's check that out. Okay, so the reason is basically because we're still importing an empty style.css file. So I'm going to get rid of this one and save. And yeah, we are good to go. So our application is working perfectly. Okay, so in the next video, we're actually going to start working on our component. So I will see you in the next video. Stay tuned.